Hello and welcome to On the Kerbs. I'm your host, Team Albers-Daly. Joining me for this week's episode is Arshia Akhtar. We caught up recently to chat all about her career in motorsport so far, from getting competitive with a friend on the go-kart track back home to travelling all the way over to the United States to race more and more in single-seat competition with an eye on climbing even higher up the motorsport ladder in the future. We also chat about how much it means to her about being the first FIA pro-licensed Pakistani female F4 driver, if she has any racing role models, and a whole lot more. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Hi Arshia, thank you very much for being here today. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. First question I like to ask everyone I talk to on here is the cliche question. What first got you interested in motorsport?
So, I've always been an adrenaline junkie, and so I'm always been speed oriented. Um, been snowboarding, rock climbing, skydiving, all those kind of stuff. But as for racing, I watched like Formula One. I love playing Need for Speed, the video game, but when I actually started taking competitively was because I was being a little bit petty, a little bit stubborn. A friend of mine went like, "Oh yeah, you can beat me at everything else except at go-karts at my tracks." I was like, "Why do you have to say that?" And now I'm here.
I'm concerned now you're here, it's escalated somewhat.
Yes.
I was going to ask why did you want to become a racing driver, but I think pettiness might be the answer, just
I
competitiveness.
know you just gotta tough it out is what I'm looking at. But other than that, I'd say, yeah, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much it. The track kind of provides me a peaceful place. So once I got
Hmm.
into it, it's been addictive, to say the least.
What was it about motorsport then that satisfied you in a way that those other adrenaline-seeking activities didn't? Because I mean, you'd think not necessarily skydiving, but it's the one that comes to mind as like that's a pretty extreme way of getting your kicks, and you think that would satisfy maybe, but no, the racing is more where it's at.
So the way I view it, right? Let's say with skydiving, you do get that, that speed, that dopamine hit, that we chase. But it's really short-lived, right? It's under a minute usually. uh, Actually it's like under like 7 to 10 seconds, and then your parachute is on, and then you're basically just chilling. With snowboarding, yes, it's somewhat there, but I like that length of it, that decision making, the science behind it. I'm a very STEM oriented person, so it fits right in. I feel like to be a race car driver, you have to be a nerd as well. You have to understand physics.
You take the Alan
That's
Prost approach.
Yes, 100%. And yeah, so not just the speed and the science part of it, but also the length of time it provides it for. So it's like best of, I'd say, all three worlds.
And you were saying about your friend baiting you somewhat into going karting. I'm guessing at that point it was still well competitive, very sort of just two friends going and karting together and duking it out sort of thing. So when was your first actual racing experience?
So basically so I did go. Okay, so right after that, literally
Hmm.
a
Did you beat
week
her, by the way?
sorry.
Did you beat her, by the way, when she called you
Yes,
out and you went on the track?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
so she
that
regretted it.
happened.
Good, good.
Yes, I've achieved that. That's the most important part, isn't it? So,
I thought we'd get on the record now so we can clip that later and you can send that to her to
yes, I need that like to be officially recorded. Thank you for asking me that. But so a week after his sentence, like I just could not let it go. So I went back to my home track and I started like go-karting, a little bit more seriously. Then I joined racing leagues. So I'd say that will be my true experience, right? So about 3.5 years, no, almost 4 years ago is when that happened. And then yeah, basically I started, doing karting leagues. And once I was consistently on podium, um, for a year. And that's when I decided to get into auto racing.
You thought you're not too bad at this. It might be worth investigating to go a bit further and see how far you can push it.
Yeah, that's how it works. I think I view like being stagnant as a failure. Like that's what failure is to me. So as long as I'm pushing like a little bit deeper, getting into a little bit faster car, still performing at a good level, that's that's all I need to get out of this.
That's how you view failure. Then does that mean when you do push yourself and you take it to the next level, let's say, that unless you're channeling godlike powers and you go in and dominate immediately, you're going to lose at least some of the time. Do you not mind that as much then when you lose because you know that you're pushing yourself on this other thing? You'd rather lose here than be winning somewhere where you're seeing yourself as stagnant, if that makes sense.
Yes. So they do say in racing you have to go slow to go fast, right? So mind being slow in a calculated way and losing some time, a position here and there, as long as I know that in long term that's going to put me in a better position. It's going to make me a better driver, and I'll just be like in long term goals, it's going to be a bit more successful position to be in.
Yeah, and like you say, you kind of you know enough from the thing you were doing previously to get you into it, and then you go, okay, now I need to learn a bit, but you keep getting those foundations, which obviously
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
incremental
you're
to
building up, right?
succeeding.
Like
Yeah,
every single time you're on track, you're building up. Literally, at my last race, the biggest problem why I was losing lap time was because I was entering a corner too fast. So I had to like
you got
slow
to be
down.
slow to be fast.
Yes, right. And then I had to like because I was entering it too fast. So mid corner is when I had to slow down the car more than others to get that stabilization in and get that full turn in. So I was kind of losing time over there, which is funny because, if you think about it, like adrenaline where you're like, yeah, you have to enter as fast and get out as fast as you can. But no,
It goes against kind of what seems
yes,
logical.
yeah. No, and it worked. It truly worked. Like
Hmm.
my coach was like really adamant about it. He's like, no, you have to slow down. Trust me, get the car slow down by 8 miles an hour and you'll feel the difference. And literally, like that helped me save multi-seconds. That's how big
Well,
of a difference that was.
it's like you were saying though, that nerdy side of you that loves that side of things, the STEM side of things. That's where that really kicks in. You go, just trust that the science knows what it's talking about
Yeah,
and the physics of it.
yeah.
It will work, and then you go, but it can't possibly because it doesn't compute with the logical sides that you can
Yes.
see in front of you. But it's like you've got to find that balance.
Yeah, yeah, and you gotta like trust the science because science is scientific, right? Like it's fact
Hmm.
based, it's very objective, while what your feelings are subjective. And once you perform up to that level, is when you realize you're like, oh, I was wrong.
Yeah, that feeling might need to tweak slightly. Okay, that
Yes,
it was a
yeah,
bit better.
and it's not easy to cause those changes, right? Because
Hmm.
let's say if I'm trying to enter a turn slower, right, which is we never talk about almost, right? That means that now I have to modify my braking point. Um,
It's not just that element of the corner you're changing. You're changing
yeah,
the whole bit, the whole corner.
yes, yeah. So I don't want to lose a lot of straightaway speed right before that turn, but now, yeah. So now I have to see what gears I'm in, how late can I brake, and how hard will I be braking, when will I be turning? Because now I need to turn in more and not lose the position mid corner because of that. So there's like a lot of little changes that you need, and these changes need to be made in like milliseconds, right? So
I was going to say it's all straightforward, but then you
yeah,
realize you've got like less than a second to do all of that.
yeah, exactly. And it's when you're executing it, it's like literally step by step, right? You're like, okay, this brake marker, now I'm gonna do this, now I'm doing this, this is my speed, this is where I'm turning, this is the angle. So you're kind of running through all of that. So it's very, very objective based.
When you're doing that, is it a case of it seeming like slow motion in your mind, even though it's going incredibly
Yeah, it's
quickly in reality?
very slow. Yeah, it's like when it happens, it's literally how I'm telling you. Like that at the
Hmm.
speed that I'm telling you this at is the speed where I feel like I'm thinking it, but I do realize now it's much
Well,
slower.
I can say, whereas in the time we've talked, it's happened about 10 times already.
Yes, yes, exactly. And like by this time, I'd probably be like back on gear, onto the next turn, doing
Hmm.
next one.
You're
Yeah.
coming around to do it the next time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because what's it? So we do like 4 mile laps in like close to like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So over 4 mile lap, I'd say 4.76 mile lap in like close to 2 minutes, like 2 minutes 10 seconds, 2 minutes 14 seconds, at max, or flat 2 minutes out, depending on what car I'm in. So yeah, it's a lot faster. By that time, you've done that 17 times across the track.
Bake into that the fact that that's one corner that you're having to change
Yeah.
differently. Never mind all the rest of them.
Yeah, but the thing with circuit racing, right? This is why I actually find it really intriguing. Is that it's truly unforgiving, especially if you have tracks that have a lot of like straight lines, right? If you mess up in one turn, the next part is straight away, so everybody's going to be full throttle, right? There's not a lot of technique to that. But if you're messed up over here, then your overall speed, because your entry speed is low, then your
Keep carrying
exit
through.
speed, yeah, then your exit speed, no matter how full throttle you are, there's that max that you're going to hit, that every other car is going to hit. You're going to enter the next corner slow as well. So basically, that entire lap is gone. So you cannot mess up. It's truly not forgiving. Whereas on shorter tracks where there are a lot of turns, it's a little bit more forgiving, but you still lose like half a section of the track. So
And
you
you
have
can't let yourself dwell on it too much either, because then you'll naturally just mess up the next corner and the next corner, because your mind will be 2 corners back and thinking, oh, I didn't quite do that in the right way. Whereas you've just got to switch and forget about it because you've got to focus on the next thing.
yeah. So with that, you actually can't think about the last corner. You just know. How do you know? Based. So I refuse to have
That's where
a
the
lot
feeling
of,
comes in, maybe.
yes, a lot of feeling, but also your revs. So I try to have it in a very traditional manner. I don't like to look at my speed until, honestly, it kind of messes you up. If you look at your speed, you're like, oh shit, I'm going that fast. But um, other than that, I'd probably look at the speed when I'm entering corners to kind of, have a definitive answer of like, okay, where I'm at, and, if I'm tweaking things. But the way I judge my speed is where I'm revving out, so I'm full throttle. Now he hit like the max of that gear. If that happens earlier, I know that I'm doing a faster lap. But if that happens at a little bit later, then I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. So basically, yeah, it's a lot of that as well. But I would not say that you necessarily do well on the last corner, but you put that as like a little bit of asterisk that, oh, that happened. I know that I'm slow, but you try to make up for the next one. But you know, in the longer run, realistically that, okay, there's only so much you can make up right now, and to focus on like the next time you're gonna go through it.
Because you've got that feeling is, again, when you're doing all of that, of, like you say, once you're through the corner, you've already sort of put it behind you, and because you're
Yes.
focusing on the next thing, but instinctively then when you come round to it next, it kind of, that's when the memory comes back and you go, oh yeah,
Yes.
change it slightly so that you do it properly this time,
Yes.
and so that you can
Exactly.
get the benefit out of it. And it's the ultimate compartmentalization, but then bringing it back in again immediately, less than
Yes.
2 minutes later.
Yes. That's exactly what it is. And it's about being so precise, right? Because like I said, like if you change one thing, there's 7 other things that kind of get changed
Mm.
with it. And how your car turns, now you're in a whole different position on the track, and you're like, oh, what do I do from here?
Yeah, it's again good that you've got that analytical brain, because not all drivers have that as much as others do, and I think the more you have that, the more then you can kind of do that supercomputer element of it, of going through all of that and trying to figure it all out as you're going along, because otherwise you're maybe not making the same mistake, but you're just trying different things every time and not knowing quite what's
Yes.
working and what isn't, and it's
Yeah.
based purely off the feeling. Whereas, as we
Yeah.
were saying, you need to find that balance between the science of it and match that up with your feeling, not just purely go with one or the other.
Exactly. Because if you truly don't feel comfortable, obviously the car has a limit,
Mm.
and anybody can push that limit, if you want to go completely full send on mode. But you can't, because if you feel scared, if you don't feel safe, you get into a mindset that now you're hesitant. of doing things. And being hesitant is where problems come in, right? Like if I'm thinking a
That's where you're just
millisecond
being
of
slow, not being slow to be fast. You're just
yes,
slow.
yes, exactly. That's what it is. Because now if I'm hesitant, that means I'm taking that decision a little bit later. That's also unsafe because there are other cars that are around me who might be more confident in their decision and are expecting me to be at a similar level when I'm, competing against them. And if I'm being slow, now there's a chance of getting hit because I haven't done what I was supposed to do already.
At least in that situation, you know what went wrong very easily.
Yes. Oh no, no, truly you do. You just this is gonna happen. And like I say this and this is what I have felt. If I'm going to spin, a lap or two earlier that this is the corner where I'm gonna spin. Like you just know. Unless it's like something like, truly like water or you get hit or something. But if you know that you're at that limit and you're kind of riding that and you're not feeling safe, you just know a couple laps prior that if something's going to happen, this exact point at this exact second is when it's going to happen.
How often, when you get that feeling, are you able to prevent it from happening, and how often does it just happen and you can't actually do anything,
Yeah,
even though you've
that's
semi
the
got
point, right?
foreshadowing from it?
Yeah, that's the point where you're like, okay, something's gonna happen here. Like, I feel like, okay, let's say that I feel like my car isn't turning enough,
Hmm.
or now I'm going out way too wide, or let's say that I am turning the car, but I'm not feeling that stabilization in the rear view. Like every time I turn, it kind of like gives out a little bit or something. So it's
Hmm.
only a matter of time where, because as a driver, you're always pushing, you're always pushing. It's only a matter of time where, I'll hit that limit and, go off. So literally like couple laps prior your limit already, and it's just a matter of like how much you want to ride it and how much you want to push it at that point, or like if you want to take some back.
It depends on the race, I suppose.
Yes, no, that exactly that's where the driver comes in, right? So you and car are a team, and um, basically you're guiding the car through this. So you're the decision maker, and the car is what executes those decisions. Um, so yeah, if you mess up your decision, what can a poor car do, right? It's
Well, exactly.
yeah, it's kind of held to it.
You were saying that whenever you feel stagnant, you like to move on to the next thing to challenge yourself and to push yourself. So, curious with your background and everything, what is the Pakistani motorsport world like for that? How far up can you go there before you have to maybe look further afield?
Um, so like on track or off track, that would be
Let's start with on track. But I
yeah,
like the fact that there's two elements there, so we've got a bit of both here.
yeah. So I'd say on track, there's very little planning, to be honest, that goes in. All of the planning kind of happens off track, right? So
Hmm.
even if you spin or even if you mess up, you have your race engineer kind of screaming in your ear, like, you did this, do this next time. So all of that planning is happening off track. And once you get off the track, so a lot of this happens in the practice sessions, right? You test, you test, you test, you push your limits as much. The second you get off track, we sit down, we review all of that data, and we see what inputs, what points, all of that can be modified to not let that happen next time. And that's where a lot of communication comes in. So let's say if my race engineer is like, oh, you can push further, you can go 5 miles faster and 20 feet deeper or 50 feet deeper into that braking zone. I can tell him during, prior to that yes, you're saying that, but I'm not feeling that connection with the car. So I'm not going to do that. So yes, you have that on-track communication, but there's some planning, but not a lot of it that happens.
Tell me then, what's the Pakistani motorsport world like? Because you've obviously you're from there, and there's plenty that we can talk about this in particular. But it's something maybe just me, but I doubt it. Um, you don't often hear an awful lot of stuff from the motorsport world that comes from there. So I'm intrigued. What is it like over there for motorsport?
Um, we have quite a bit of rally racing that's available,
Hmm.
but that's truly because of the topography. We got that
Yeah, it makes
opportunity.
sense to do it.
Yes. And then otherwise we have. autocross, we have a little bit of karting, we have drag racing, um, but we truly do not have like proper tracks. We do not have, I'd say, a Formula, not just Formula One level, but I'd say even lower level Formula car racing. How do I put it? Yeah, Formula car
Yeah.
racing tracks, like circuit tracks. We do not have those. I don't believe that we have a truly full circuit track in the entire country. People are truly passionate about it. My DMs are flooded, to say, how do I get into this? What is this? Everybody's really intrigued. Everybody's really into it. I believe we have total of four, or if not five, including me, from F1, FIA's licensed race car drivers, and I'm the first
Mhm.
and the only one, out of the country right now. So yeah, it's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, because I want to educate people, but I want to educate them in the right way. They do. There isn't a lot of understanding what Formula cars are, obviously because of lack of accessibility, lack of opportunity. There isn't a lot of understanding on the exact pathway, which I think a lot of us don't as well. It's pretty complicated. But understanding the mechanics behind it, why is it at why is the downforce so important? Why are the turn speeds more important than the straight line speeds? All of those minute understandings is lacking, I'd say, in majority of the country, but it's very rapidly developing. Like I see, events coming in, I see uh, people trying to go out, like I said, a lot of passion, but just truly lack of accessibility, unfortunately.
Talk me through your motorsport career so far then, because if there's limited kind of options for you where you can go to race, unless you're deciding to go into rallying and drag racing
Yeah.
and these sorts of things, which I'm pretty sure you haven't done from having a quick look through you. It's been more the
Yeah.
single seater route. Um, where did you have to go then next? Because obviously you liked the idea of karting, you did well there, we established that, but then where did you go after that, and what led you to where you are now?
I started in B-Spec. It's funny because people, they say a lot of things about like little B-Spec, like little Miatas and Mini Cooper.
Hmm.
That's where I started. I actually started my first race like in a Mini Cooper.
Hey, they
And
worked brilliantly in the Italian job, so I don't see why they can't work brilliantly for racing.
no, truly, like it teaches you a lot of car handling skill. And just FYI, it was a front wheel drive car. Imagine taking turns in a front wheel drive car, because if you mess up, you're like out there looping in the grass.
Oh, and especially in a Mini, yeah.
Yes, yes, it was really fun. I do say it's one of the ugliest cars that I've driven, not because the car itself, but the paint job that was on that car.
Hmm.
And to
Not your favorite.
be honest, the way I was able to afford it was because the team owner said, "This is the ugliest car we have. Nobody wants to run it. I'll give it to you for discount if you want to run it." And I was like, you know what? I'll take it.
It was a
So
deal.
yeah, and that was my first podium. So that literal ugly thing means a lot to me.
The big little ugly car that could.
Yes, yes, it was. But it's beautiful to me. I absolutely love that thing. And so yeah, basically stayed in B spec, then did lower level formulas to start in literally Formula V. So when we talk about Formula V, we're talking about
Hmm.
really low horsepower. We're talking about no aero, right? We're talking about drum brakes.
They're
Yes.
interesting looking little cars, aren't they?
Yes, yes, they're super cool, really fun to drive. But I'd say somebody would have to pay me a couple $1 million to drive a car with drum brakes ever again. Like it was
Now,
a
now,
whole,
now that you know what they're like and
yes,
you've gone on
yes.
to other things,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
the
yeah.
hell did I get
Now
into
I'm
those?
spoiled. Yeah, and then I kind of went into from there into like F1600, so like Formula Fords, and
Hmm.
then Formula Renaults, then F4, and now I'm basically driving cars that are between F4 and F3. So my next step is F3.
And where were you based when you were doing all of this racing? So I'm guessing you
Um,
had to go outside of Pakistan
yeah,
for that.
still in US. So all
Hmm.
of this is in US because I grew up in Saudi Arabia.
Hmm.
The women were not even allowed to drive a street car up until 2018. So there was a lot of
Just put a slight damper on getting a career in motorsport.
yes, yes, but I'll make up for it. It will happen.
So then, as you alluded to earlier, you're the first FIA Pro licensed Pakistani female F4
Yes.
driver. So no pressure and no responsibilities at all there at all. But is that the biggest off-track or on-track sort of combined highlight of your career so far, or is there something else that stands out to you? Because, like I say, you've got this
So
interesting
currently,
combination of being the first, but again, it's
yeah,
not
but
always something where you want to
also,
look at it like that.
um, I I like the fact that I'm able to represent it in being the first
Hmm.
one because my mom says this that I don't need anybody to inspire me to do stupid things, so I'm very self-inspired in
It
that
feels like
way.
an interesting compliment she paid you there.
No, she's always said it. Like that's been, something I that's been what do you call like my motto to life apparently now. But I mean, I'm honored that I have that opportunity to kind of show other people that yes, you can dream about this, right? Because to even dream, you need to have a vision.
Hmm.
Um, I think I come from a place of privilege where I was able to look at everything else that was going on internationally and, internalize it enough to dream about it and then execute that. But as far as, what it mean to me, I'd say that not only I'm the first one, but I am competing at the international level, right? That I am being competitive in the group that I'm running with, but in such short experience where everybody else has 10 to 14 years at least of more experience than I am on that track. And I'm going first time on a track, first time in these new cars, and still running with my pack, still ending up on a podium. So I'd say that to me personally means that I can keep pushing and I can keep going. And, I'm not being a problem on track to say I'm not like a slow moving cone. Uh, but in addition to that, I'm also pushing to be one of the highest level drivers from Pakistan as well, right? So it's not
Hmm.
only that, yes, I got my license and, yes, I am being on track. It's where I am in the ladder. It's, I'm doing the, how do I say it? I'm doing well over there as well. So, yeah.
Hmm. Would you say then, like you say, a lot of this is coming in with less experience than those around you in just about every aspect? It sounds
Yeah,
like they're from the
and
list you gave.
self-funding, right? Like, I don't
Yeah.
come from like my sister and my mom, they don't even have a driver's license, like
Hmm.
for speed. And
Again, I think you're making up for it for the parents.
yeah, apparently, yes. So, on top of that, I don't come from any form of racing lineage. Nobody in my family has ever done any some sort of like motorsport racing, which is very common. You see, like, a lot of people are like raised on tracks, so they understand that pathway and all
There's
of that.
always that one child who's got to break the mold, though.
Yeah, so that means a lot. And then on top of all of that, I'm completely self-funding up on myself,
Hmm.
like, up until this point. That's not the easiest thing to do because that means that I'm having a full-time job in a really stressful environment to kind of pay me those monies to be able to afford these racing, right? So it's balancing a lot of things, and I truly take pride in that. That I say this that it's a privilege to be able to fight your problems off,
Hmm.
to have to be in that position, and I take that as an honor as well.
You say that at the same time, though, is it also the biggest challenge that you've had to face so far? Because obviously, the higher up the ladder you get, the more expensive it tends to be. And
Yes, yes,
even
and
if you
that's
have
the
all the
only
experience in the
bottleneck.
world, that's not
Yeah.
going to help if you don't have, unfortunately, the money to back it up.
Yes, yes, truly, truly. That's being the biggest problem for me right now. It's truly the only bottleneck that I'm facing. I have the seat available. I've delivered the results that are needed, to get into those positions. I've performed on track. I've built those connections in the paddock. I've shown the understanding. I work as a steward, so I work, in race operations and race admin as well. Um,
But to
so
give your
I'm
brain something else to think about when you're racing as well, there, if you're
yes,
seeing
it
something or
really
if you
does.
get
It
called out
really
for something
does.
like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, like what risks you can take and what are not worth it given the penalties and what will
Hmm.
piss off the steward. But other than that, that's truly finances are being truly the only bottleneck where, I'm stuck at right now.
So with all that in mind, then, how is 2025 going for you so far?
Exciting. This might be the longest year of my life. Like, I know a lot of
Bring it
people.
to you, it's only July at the time of recording. We're not even there yet.
It's 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 just been I feel like that there's just been so much that has happened in this year, right? I've gone through running a full championship, being on podiums, changing the cars that I'm running in twice already this year, signing up for an even faster car, two even faster cars next year. Um, Looking for sponsors, I've kind of had so many things going on at work as well. It's just been long. Like I know a lot of people disagree, but a lot of, like I see a lot of those posts where it's like, oh, it's like the last quarter of the year already, or like, we're halfway through this. And I'm like, only like how long is this year? So I might not be experiencing the year like other people are, but this is truly, truly a very slow year. I've gotten two new dogs this year. So
With everything else.
yeah. So yeah, I'd say not as fast as other people are experiencing it, but very very exciting. A lot of things which I couldn't believe that I'd be achieving, I am.
I was going
And
to ask
not
how much of
only
what has happened has been, I don't want to say expected, but maybe was on your to-do list of I'd love to
yes,
achieve this year,
yes,
would love to
yes.
achieve that, and then how much of it has been just not surprising you, but surprising you.
Surprisingly fast. Not surprised that it happened. I knew it was going to
Hmm.
happen, but that when kind of
Just
moved
sooner
it
than you thought,
around.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that when happened much faster than I expected it to.
Was there a specific thing you were thinking of for that, or is you just mean everything for that one?
Yeah, no, for real, like literally everything, right? I'm currently fourth in the championship that I'm running in US, and
Hmm.
I genuinely did not expect that to be something to happen. I was like, okay, the best I do, like when I entered in this championship, um, we have really experienced drivers. We have international drivers as well as local, American drivers as well. And the experience range kind of goes from, so the person who's least experienced after me has 11 years of racing experience. So,
I can see why
it's,
you were maybe a little apprehensive about it before going into
yeah,
the season in
yeah,
terms of what was going to happen there.
yeah. So when I started, I was like, okay, I just don't want to be the last. I'm fine with being
Hmm.
the second last. Like, I can live with that. But then,
There's losing and there's being lost. There's a big difference.
yes, yes, exactly, right. And then now where I'm standing at with the championship, I'm like, oh, okay, I could have done way better if I was a little bit more aggressive. And, I thought that I could do it. So I think my entire mindset kind of changed. And how much I truly trusted myself changed as well.
And has that surprise meant that, I mean, how many rounds are left at this point of the season? You say you're fourth at the moment. How much is left?
So there are only two more races left.
Okay. I was going
But
to say, how much of your mindset being changed will help you for those last 2 rounds to maybe go, let's see what we can do. Is there
yes,
anything that you can
exactly.
attain
Yeah.
or?
Yeah. But, so when I started this year, when I gained a position, I literally gave it back, which is literally like nobody ever wants to hear that. I gave it back because I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to be a problem. I'm not sure if I could push the car to that point, and I don't want to mess up somebody else's race when I'm completely new. Where I'm
The
racing to
most
build up.
polite I've ever known a racing driver to be.
I know it's such a different way to look at it. Like I
Terribly
know
sorry, I've overtaken you. I don't know what I was thinking. Please take the position back. I'll
yes,
just be back here,
I
minding my
did
own
that.
business.
I had my coach scream at me for say, at least 48 minutes straight. I was like, what were you thinking? We were so happy for you. Why did you do that? I was like, I'm just racing to build my seat time, and I was racing. as a rookie in this place, and I just wanted to let faster people pass because like if you have passed them, then you are the faster people.
I was going to maybe point that out to you
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay.
when you put it like that.
Yeah, no, for real. So literally coming from there all the way to now where I'm like, okay, you know what? If I've earned this position, I will keep it. Thank you very much. And I will push for it. So I know
But
it sounds so stupid to say this out loud, but truly, truly, like I was thinking that, I don't want to mess up somebody who's already at pace, who's already racing for the championship, and I'm here like la la la,
again,
learn to like so
it's a commendable approach. It's just not what I'm used to for a racing driver.
I
It's the
believe
sort of
it.
thing you hear from someone who's watched a racing contest. You really should have just let that pace back. She was being a nuisance there. And you go, well, she's not going to do that. She's a racing driver. Why would she do that?
I know, right? Again, it was truly, I think I just doubted myself a lot at that point. I
Hmm.
like it was almost when you're representing so many things that are first and you don't have any other representation that that you can kind of relate to being on track, then you
There's a
have these
benchmark.
questions about yourself, right? Where you're like, am I do I even belong on the track? It's it sounds a little bit morbid, but you do question that. You do question, oh, have I earned my place on this track yet? Do I belong in this? Which was something that I kind of had to learn, to be honest. It did not come naturally. Maybe, maybe because there isn't a lot of representation, or maybe it's something that comes from me internally. I do not know what was the problem, but that was a problem. Uh,
Is it solved now, that particular problem?
yes, yes, it got solved after that 48 minutes of screaming at me. It wasn't just my coach screaming at me, it was the team owner screaming at me, it was my mechanic sitting there like,
I'm glad
what are you
everyone got
doing?
involved there. Nice team bonding exercise.
Yeah, yeah. And then like every time like two, three people leave, they just come back, like somebody else would come back and be like, we saw what happened. Like, are you okay? Were you scared? This and that. And I'm like, no, I was fine. I just did that. They'd be like, oh my God, like, how dare
They're
you?
tag teaming at that point. Two or three people are
Yeah,
leaving because they've got not got a voice anymore. They bring the next people and they go, "What? Oh,
yes.
you just did that for no reason."
Yeah, basically, if they could give me like capital punishment over it, they would have, because they're like, you are not racing, like, why would you be, this is not a test day, this is not a track day, this is not, a qualifier, whatever, this is a race. And if you want to race, then you need to accept that you belong in this track, and you can't let people pass you by until they're truly passing you by, unless like until you can't stop them, you can't let somebody pass you by. And I think I had to hear that for good 5 hours back to back, because that was the gap. That yes, you belong in the track, you do in a little bit of aggressive manner, but that's okay.
It's
My
fine.
yeah, my engineer is Italian, and I come from an Asian household, so it worked great.
Yeah,
And yeah.
that's a combination.
Yes. So yeah. But yeah, I think the second that I accepted that yes, I belong on track and this is my position and my car is going to stay here, and if you can pass me, try to, you know.
Hmm, that's a
Um
better mentality.
yeah, yeah. So now, yes, now I race with that, and that literally started at like race two.
So you mentioned about next year.
Mhm.
What can you tell us about that, and what are your ambitions for the future?
Yeah, so I currently have a seat available in Formula Regionals, which
Mhm.
again will be one of the highest levels any Pakistani has like competed at. So pretty proud of that. Um, I'm
Just unlocking new levels every single time.
yes, yes. So I have a lot of testing to do. After this championship ends in October, I have a lot of testing to do, kind of to learn more about that car, to be competitive and to not let people pass me by on track.
Something tells me you won't need to learn that one again, or I hope not. Anyway,
No, that's not happening. Like that hasn't happened for the rest of this year. It's not happening again. Um, but yeah, So
And
that's pretty much it. And a lot of international races, right? So I'm aiming to kind of do some races in Europe, some races in Middle East, in addition to North America and Canada. So exciting
is
year
that
ahead.
just in a variety of single-seater championships, I take it?
Yeah, so I'm trying to run between the Formula regionals, hopefully test and run a small F3 championship. So not the full one,
Mhm.
but like sprint races basically.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, do that. If not, but at least do F4 in Europe. That it's still, it's still very competitive, and I'd love to kind of get into that as well. But yeah.
And then looking kind of down the line in terms of you were saying earlier that to have the dream you to have a vision. Where's your vision taking you in the grand scheme of things? What's the big goal?
Um, F1 Academy, I'd say,
Hmm.
it's a really big one that would really give me um a position where I'm seen, right? Like I've put in all this work. I've done the representation part of it. I believe, if they can take a notice, that would be amazing because I know that I can perform in those cars pretty well. I have performed in those cars already, and other than that, hopefully F3.
And so with F1 Academy as well, you've got the certainty of seat time and not having to worry about what we were saying earlier was the biggest challenge, which is the funding for it, because then you, as it's fully funded, you can focus on seats in other categories if you want to race alongside it, but at least you know that for that principal season in there, you don't have to worry about it. And you can just
Yeah,
focus on the
yes,
driving.
yes, and I've driven faster cars, so the F4 car is faster than
Mm.
the car in F1 Academy. So I don't believe that the car is going to be an issue in terms of handling it and racing it, like truly racing it, not doing the stupid stuff that I was doing at the start of this
Yeah.
year. Um, but yeah, I don't think that's going to be the problem. I think it's truly a matter of opportunity at this point for me. So if I get that, I know that I will perform well.
So it'd be very, very cool to see then in Formula 3. I mean, we've not had anyone, I think, yet. I'm just trying to remember when they modified the car last to be suiting not just male drivers, but drivers
Yeah.
of all kind of body types. And I don't think we've had anyone actually in there that isn't a bloke yet to test that out. So it'd be pretty neat to see someone come in there. And I mean, I'm not saying you're going to be in there straight away next year, but if we don't get anyone, it'd be pretty cool to see how effective those changes have been. And like I say, it's the natural next step for you at that point then. So that would be quite fun to see and
Definitely, if
all
that
kinds of new
happens.
things that you've unlocked at that point.
No, hopefully. Fingers crossed, right? We can always dream.
Well, exactly. What's the point otherwise?
Right? Yeah.
Do you have any racing role models?
Do I have racing role model?
If not generally, just role models?
I I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in role models. Is that something weird to say?
No,
Yes,
no.
there are a lot of people that I look up to in a lot of different things, right?
Hmm.
So I've marshaled for F1 and I've been at these bigger events at WC, in Paddock and like grid areas and all of that. I'd say like Lewis Hamilton, let's talk about him. He's one of the sweetest people out there. So yes, I do inspire to be a person like him. He's a great, amazing driver, right? So yes, yeah, great. But I think we all have our shortcomings. We all have our things. So yes, there are parts that I look up to in almost every person that I meet. Like that's how I view it. Like every time I've met somebody, I feel like that I
You
can.
prefer to mix and match with everybody that
Yes,
you
yes,
come
so that I
across
can
rather
learn
than just
something from
having.
them. Yeah,
Yeah.
like okay, let's suppose you right here. Like, I feel like that you come off as like a really good listener, where I'm really, let's say, how how to say, like I yap a lot. So that is something that I could learn from you.
It'd be a terrible interview if you didn't.
Yeah, I know. Right? I would just sat there.
So I'm waiting for her to say something. She's not saying anything at all. This is going brilliantly. No, but I get what you mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Just like they like you say, it's to take it back to the driving. It's a little bit of when you go to the next level up. you maybe have a reference point from every single thing that you've done up to that point, and maybe there's something that you haven't used before, but it suddenly becomes relevant. And you go, oh, if I hadn't raced in this particular thing, I wouldn't know how to
100%.
do
Yeah.
this bit of the car potentially as well as I could, and you never know
Yeah.
quite how that's going to pan out.
Yeah, and I love working on the car as well. Like, whenever we are working with the mechanics, I think you cannot drive the car properly until you understand what you're driving, right? Like if I have to fix something, to even understand the feedback, I need to know what's going on and where it might be coming from. So I
Don't just hit
love
everything
working
with a
on the
hammer,
car.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I absolutely love working on the car with my engineers. They find it dragging because obviously now I'm here asking them a million questions like, what is this? How do I
And so
fix
you're the
it?
kid just pointing at everything, going, "Tell me about this. Tell me about
Yes.
this. Tell me about this."
Yeah, they're really patient with that. They deal with me. There are times where they're like, if you're gonna sit here, then you're gonna have to be quiet and not ask any questions right now. But I understand because on those times, they're in time crunch and I'm just sitting there curiously. But sometimes I genuinely just sit there and I stay late with the engineers. I stay with my team as long as I can. If they're working on the car, it's the car that I am driving, and I need to know
Hmm.
what's happening in it. So I sat there with them till 8, 9 p.m. on track, kind of just figuring things out, learning.
And the more you know, the better you do in theory,
Yes.
because even if you are still slow, you're going to be the more complete driver there. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the stuff that's then an issue isn't the car. It's not a lot of
It's
things. It's maybe
me.
just it's maybe I was trying not to say that, but yeah, it'd be maybe you or it's the circumstances around it, but it's not going to be something that you
Yes.
don't understand about
And
the
we
car.
need to be able to recognize that, right? Like it's important to differentiate that. Sometimes there is an issue with the car, right? It's going through so much, like you're pushing its limit in every manner possible. So things happen, race cars break down all the time, right? That's not something new, that's not something unheard of. So just kind of knowing that where the problem is, right? Like if it's truly a me problem or if the car is not responding about 2 race weekends back, I had a problem where I was not able to shift into the right gear because it would get stuck between second and first gear. Right, there was like a delay, and I cannot have that delay. Like if I'm shifting down, like from sixth to first, and it hasn't shifted down to first, and it's time for me to turn the car, then I just have to take that turn in second. So there was problems with that. The car won't turn as well. Obviously, my exit speed would be slower. Every kind of problem that you can imagine has happened, like will happen, basically. But at that point, you need to know if it's you or if it's the car, right? If I'm slowing down the car enough, if I'm getting the engine to the point where that change is possible, if that's the problem, or if the transmission is truly getting stuck, if
Hmm.
that's the problem. Yeah. So I think you kind of learn to differentiate who the problem is and where it's coming from.
But yeah, I think the more you do that, the more, like you say, the more complete driver you'll be anyway. Because
Definitely.
as I say,
Yes.
even if you solve everything for the particular car that you're driving on that occasion, say next year when you've moved up and you're in a different thing, there could be a similar thing, but it's solved in a very similar way. But you're not guaranteed to know that if you've not been paying attention the entire time up to then, and
100%. Yeah.
maybe it's something that they don't need to teach you then because they just have to teach you a small bit because it's just a little different because it's a different car, but the principle is the same.
Yes, yes. And if you don't spin and if you don't get your problems out of the way earlier on, then you're going to face them at a higher level, at a higher speed. And I think that's worse. I'd rather,
And that's not the kind of visibility you want.
yes, I'd rather have my problems now than later.
Like, a
Yeah.
couple of fun non-motorsport questions just to finish off with them.
Yes.
If you could change one small thing about the world, what would you choose?
If I could choose one small thing about the world, like anything in the
Mm-hmm.
world,
Anything.
I, huh, I need to think about it for a second. Because okay, it's definitely going to be animal related. I think I'll just make the world a bit more animal friendly place.
Okay. I like kind of more of these bridges for animals to cross the road sort of thing. It'd be kind of like lots of
Yes,
little
like
things like this around the place.
just more animal oriented, like for cats and dogs and like other animals. Just like I'm an animal person, so I'd say that like something that
Figured
will
that.
make their life a little bit more easier.
Actually, awkward. Next question then. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or a horse-sized duck?
100. What was the first part? The 100 duck-sized horse.
100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
100 duck-sized horses. I think that you can trap them,
Hmm.
and then kind of work after that. But ducks are crazy, right? Like if the duck, then it's going to be able to fly. That's a big thing that could just
That
fly
is,
through the
yeah.
water or on
I've
land.
asked a few people that question. Not once has flying come into it, and now that it's been introduced as an idea, I don't like that at all. That's
Right?
terrifying.
Like how am I going to escape this big horse-sized duck, basically?
Yeah, no, that's. I'm surprised that's not come up before. No one's everyone's just thought, wow, I could probably just punch it on the nose or something like that. It's flying. It flies. No one's interesting.
Yeah, with its like big ass those webbed feet. Yeah, I don't think I want to fight a horse-sized duck.
I apologize for your weird dreams later tonight if that features. I feel I'm definitely
Yeah, yeah,
responsible for
yeah. I have my battles figured out.
that. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I want to wish you the best of luck for the rest of 2025 and beyond. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how all of it pans out. And if there's somewhere to watch it next year, I will definitely be keeping an eye on you, making sure that you don't do what you were talking about earlier and that you overtake properly.
That's not
Um,
happening. Like before you even watch that, or before that even happen, I'm pretty sure my team will like just put me down. Yeah,
just put
like,
it to one side thing, just in case we need to tell you.
I don't know. There's nothing that like I'd be probably euthanized at that point. Like there's no in between. I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
that's better for you. Trust us.
On that cheery note, I will thank you again for your time, and yeah, it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
No, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you again to Arshia for taking the time to chat. Wishing you the best of luck for the rest of 2025 and beyond. If you want to follow Arshia's career, follow her on Instagram at arshia.z.akhtar. Further details, as well as where to find more of me, can be found in the description of this episode. In the meantime, I'll be back soon with another interview with someone from the world of motorsport. Until then, thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.